Bass in your face. What the hell is going on down there? Bass in your face.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron. Now, for the benefit of those of you who are not familiar with the channel or watching this channel for the first time, the reason why it is called Uncommon Sense because here on this platform, we discuss everyday issues where we try to find logical solutions, but not everyone uses logic. So for that reason, it is called Uncommon Sense. I also have another YouTube channel called Latina Diaspora where I talk about issues pertaining to Latinos in the United States. The link to that channel is in the description. I want to let everybody know that I'm currently live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Also, the subscriber mode has been enabled for the first 5 minutes, meaning if you're not a subscriber and if you wish to enter a comment in the chat, you must have been a subscriber for at least 5 minutes. As always, I want to give a huge shout out to all those who've already subscribed to the channel. Whether you've been a supporter from the very beginning or just recently joined, I really appreciate your love and continued support. I also want to give a huge shout out to all those who follow me on social media, as well as those who allow me to enter into your devices and those who watch from the clouds, even the haters. So, what I'm going to ask you to do if you have not done so already, I'm going to ask you to please subscribe, like, and set the bell notifications to all. So, therefore, whenever I do produce content, you will have the opportunity to catch it live or catch it on playback. Now, as you can see by the thumbnail, the topic for tonight is aging gracefully. So, of course, aging is part of the life process. We go from being babies to toddlers, and then toddlers to school age children, and then school age children to young adults. And then we go from adults to middle aged adults, and then we become, with God's grace and mercy, part of the elderly. So I'm going to share with you how you can age gracefully. Now, before we get into the main topic, we're going to have another episode of In My Words. Now, the first message is going to be directed towards my fellow New Yorkers. As many of you know, we were hit with a snowstorm not only here in New York but in several states. And as a result um, of the snowstorm, it has affected mass transit. Trains are running with delays. There's been some partial reduction of services, and the same thing applies to buses. And it looks like we're going to be hit with more snow tomorrow. So I would advise my fellow New Yorkers if there's a situation when you're going to have to go out, please exercise caution. Give yourself plenty of time to get to your destination. And if you don't have to travel, don't. Also, there's good. Also, if you can help, if you can check on your neighbors and make sure they're okay, particularly those who are elderly, I'm sure they would appreciate it very much. Also, as a part of what happened today and what's going to happen tomorrow, we had a short meeting on Friday in anticipation of this snowstorm. And as a result, my whole department will be working remotely tomorrow. So none of us is going to be in the office. Okay. Um, Working remotely it has its blessings, but it also has its challenges as well. Particularly if your internet is not working so well. But we shall see. But for those of you who's going to be shoveling snow, uh, please be careful. Okay, don't overdo it. Don't overexert yourself. Give yourself time to rest. Okay. The last thing you want to do is overexert yourself and you can injure yourself, either through slips or fall or trying to shovel too much snow quickly. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is earlier today, Angry Biracial produced a short video, which he maintained that in a week, he's going to lose his YouTube channel. And the reason behind that, because there are certain content creators that that has been allegedly being harassing him, allegedly calling community strikes on his content, because many of you are not familiar, but his channel is a reaction channel. He will tend to give his reactions regarding many things. What's having to do with black males, which he referred to as kings, and speak about how many of them are not being responsible. Many of them have abandoned their homes, abandoned. Now, I do believe that there's good and there's bad in every community, but the picture that he creates is that the majority of the black males are irresponsible, incapable of being faithful, incapable of being productive members of society. That kind of stretches the envelope a little bit. However, he's entitled to produce whatever content that he so chooses to create. It's just that the problem is when you base your channel purely on reactions, it does open yourself to a lot of criticism. It also open yourself to receive a lot of hate. It also open yourself to receiving allegations of copyright infringement. And the reality is that controversy does seem to follow anchor vibration. Of course, we do understand that you have a very difficult childhood where he was abused, neglected, and that he also have a past, mainly I think has to do with fraud. But one thing we all have to bear in mind is that every one of us has a past. It's just that some of us is more colorful than others. Okay. And it is not my place to cast any dispersions on him. It is not my place to pass judgment on him. I'm gonna let God Almighty do that for me. Okay. Um, he's more capable of passing judgment. Now, in the video, he maintained that certain individuals will start harassing him if they pay a large sum of money or subscribe to their channel, subscribe to their memberships. Um, in all fairness, I have stopped consuming his content for the most part. It's basically more or less repetition of the same. I don't have, like I said, I don't have an issue. It's just that it seems like controversy always manages to follow him wherever he goes. Some of you may recall that last year there was controversy regarding, I, I believe, a story regarding someone that regarding a mixed biracial who was racist and part of the white supremacy group, and it seemed like it was a description regarding my friend in Georgia that he um, used his story without giving proper credit. Now, in all fairness, I did reach out to Andrew Biracial last year. He was afforded opportunity to come on this platform to address the accusation that Georgia made. He, however, for reasons only known to him, chose not to take advantage of that opportunity. That is his right. That is his choice. Okay. Now, he did state that in the event that his channel should be removed from YouTube, of course, he'll have Facebook and TikTok and things of that nature, and maintain that it's more easier for him to make money off of Facebook or TikTok. I mean, there are many motivations why people create content on YouTube. Some is a labor of love, and some um, with the purpose of making money. So I would suggest that you watch the video itself. It's about 5 minutes, and then you decide what's going to be your reaction be. Is it being factual, or is it just being overly dramatic? Um, I'll let you make the determination. Now, the last thing um, that I'm going to talk about is, of course, we are approaching the end of January, and of course, we know Groundhog Day is coming up, which will be next week. And for those of you who are not familiar, there's a story regarding the groundhog, okay? Which there is Tony Phil, and then there's Chuck, whatever. And the story is, I believe, unless I'm mistaken, if the groundhog he sees his shadow, they will have 6 more weeks of winter. If he doesn't, they will become an early spring. We shall see. So, with that being said, we're going to go to the main topic. Now, before I continue, let me just state for the record that the link to join our panel has been pinned. Should anyone wishes to hit that link and opine regarding the topic at hand, they may do so. If I have never seen you before, if I never heard from you before, I will insist that you come up in the backstage and make sure that no one tries to flash any pornographic or adult images, which will cause the people of YouTube to take down their stream. Now, once I determine that you're not going to try that, then I will let you on the pen. Now, as far as the topic aging gracefully, I have discussed this topic before, but it's always good to bring it up because the fact of the matter is all of us, or most of us, are going to get old. So, and part of aging gracefully is to know how to age. Okay, now, one thing we all have to bear in mind as we get older, okay, first of all, um, many effects. First of all, we start to walk a little bit slowly, we lose our hair, our vision may start to deteriorate, our hearing might start to deteriorate. Okay. Um, Sometimes it may take us longer to recover from illnesses or things of that nature. Now, one of the keys to be able to age gracefully is making sure that you're taking proper care of yourself. Which starts with the basics. First of all, making sure that you maintain a healthy diet. Make sure you eat your fruits, make your vegetables. Make sure you eat your grains. Try to avoid or limit greasy foods, fried foods, and things of that nature. Also, try to maintain some sort of a healthy routine where you engage in some sort of physical activity. Uh, Exercise, as far as exercise is concerned, walking is an excellent form of exercise because you're moving your legs, you're moving your arms, okay, and you're not sitting down. Now, during the winter months, where the temperature gets to, it gets a little chilly, that could be a challenge as far as taking your walks. But there are other forms of activities that you can do in order to remain active. Dancing is also an excellent form of activity. You're moving your legs and moving your body, particularly if you're moving to the beat of music. So, and the reason why I focus on that, um, as I stated on several occasions, in order to be well, you must be physically well, you must be emotionally well, you must be mentally well, and spiritually well. So, as I like to look at it, as health as the four-legged stool. In order for a stool to work properly, all four legs must be in condition. In order for you to be healthy, you need to be healthy physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Because if you're not well in one, it's going to affect the other three. So there are other things you can do in order to um, maintain a healthy lifestyle. Other than make sure that you have some sort of physical activity as far as exercise. Make sure that you are eating properly. Also, make sure that you're getting your sleep. You should get at least 6 to 7 hours of good solid sleep every single day. You'll be surprised how much a good night's sleep is going to do as far as your physical well-being, your mental well-being, your emotional well-being, and your spiritual. Also, Another way to age gracefully is to avoid unnecessary stress. Now, stress is something we're all going to have to go through, and there's no way that we can avoid it completely. However, we can limit the amount of stress, okay, by setting up a reasonable boundaries regarding what you're going to permit and not permit. Okay. And also, not only setting boundaries for yourself, enforcing those boundaries, which is very important. Okay. And what do I mean by that? In other words, do not allow anyone um, to try to bring in unnecessary drama. Make sure that people respect your boundaries. And if people don't respect your boundaries, have a discussion with them. And if they continue, then you may have to cut them off completely. Okay. It does not mean that you hate these people. It just that means that there's certain people that you have to limit your exposure or avoid in order to um, avoid the toxicity that people try to bring to you. Another thing you need to do as far as aging gracefully, making sure that you attend all your medical appointments. And believe me, you will have medical appointments, particularly as you continue the age, going from your early 60s to your mid 60s and going into your 70s and then 70s, 80s, or even 90s if God grants you favor. So, of course, you're going to have medical appointments. You're going to have medical appointments regarding your vision. You're going to have medical appointments regarding your feet. You're going to have medical appointments regarding your body and things of that nature. Um, as a practice, try to have a physical examination every 6 months. Okay. Also, make sure that when you go see your doctor, that if you have any symptoms whatsoever, do not be shy and share it with your physician. Okay. Because if you do not share the symptoms that you experience, your doctor cannot properly treat you. And not only dealing with your physical health, but also dealing with your mental health, which means if you have any issues regarding mental health, do not be embarrassed to seek a therapist. Now, I know that people in my generation, uh, they were not encouraged to seek a therapist for therapy because we was taught if we did that, that it meant that we are insane, that we're not mentally well. No, what it means is you recognize that you have a mental health issue, and you decided to speak with a mental health professional in order to address it. And what you're going to do with that, just as you go to see a doctor regarding physical ailments, you're going to see a healthcare professional regarding your mental issues. Because remember, as I said before, in order for you to be physically fit, you must be physically fit, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And we have seen here in not only in these YouTube streets, but outside as well, that there are many people that dealing with untreated trauma, okay, from multiple sources, multiple resources, okay. Whether it be something that happened in their childhood, whether it be something that will happen in their romantic life, maybe they experience a death in the family, or maybe they're going through some sort of physical ailments and things of that nature. These are things that can help, that can affect your mental well-being. Now, another thing that you need to be able to do as you grow older, you need to be able to adapt to your environment. You need to be able to adapt um, to what is your physical being. Okay, and what do I mean by that? Just bear in mind that as you grow older, okay, there's certain things that you're not able to do, and there's certain things you're able to do, but it may take more effort and energy. Like some of you, particularly those of you who are entering your 60s, 70s, or even 80s, some of you are maybe walking with the aid of a cane, or maybe you're just walking more slowly. Um, your vision may start to deteriorate a little bit. Your hearing starts to deteriorate a little bit. You might become forgetful, so maybe you might have to write notes, but do not forget certain things. This is all part of the aging process. And again, as I stated before, the topic for tonight is aging gracefully. And as I stated in the beginning, this is a topic that I have discussed before, but it's very important that we do bring it up. And I see we have a guest. So let me just state for the record that the views of those who appear on the record are not necessarily those of the host. Any attempt to copy the material from hosts is by appearing on the call, you waive your rights. If you do not like the content, you can block the channel. And now we're going to bring in our guest. Good evening, Gigi. Okay, I don't know what happened. Let me just let me just put the link again, even though it's in the oh, wait, okay, let's see. Good evening, Gigi.
Hey Jose, how are you?
Fine. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. I couldn't hear you the first time when I hit the link, so I just went back out and came back in. How's everything going?
Oh, fine. We're just dealing with the snowstorm, and they're talking about we're gonna get hit with more snow tomorrow.
How did that work out for y'all over there as far as the storm?
What happened is, as a result of the snowstorm, my whole department will be working remotely tomorrow.
Oh, well, that's good news. You don't have to go out in the cold.
And I don't have to deal with trying to commute to the city to deal with the mountains of snow and things of that nature. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So what's up, Jose? What we
Yeah.
talking about? Did you already go through the hot
So
topic?
yeah, I already spoke about Angry Biracial's latest video talking about he may lose his channel in a week.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I saw that. Well, I mean, not to say I told you so, but I did say that everybody should be very careful of targeting specific groups on their channels, even though he's trying to say it's about something else, but we
Yeah.
know the truth.
Well, look, let's not mince words. Controversy seems to follow him no matter what.
Yeah. I mean, either way or whatever, like I don't watch his content or anything like that unless it's something outrageous going on, you know. So it's not like I'm like happy he's losing his channel. I really don't care either way. But yeah, it's an example though for some of these people that are just like, you know, completely outrageous out here in these spaces that like you can look like you're winning for a time being, but that doesn't mean that it isn't going to catch up to you eventually, you know? Can you hear me, Jose?
Yeah, yeah, that's
Okay.
very they're going at it with black males. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just also going
But
to
him
add that,
going
you know
at it
how they
with
did the,
black males and things of that
uh,
nature.
yeah, and also they did the updates and stuff with the AI and stuff to scan all these channels and like even like very big content creators are just getting their channels deleted, you know, because it's being ran through AI. So it's just like it's kind of easy to lose your channel now, even if you're not giving them a major reason. So yeah, it's definitely a time for everybody to be a little bit more mindful. And then also, is it really necessary to be nasty? I mean, we can all still get our points across without being nasty, you know?
Yeah, I mean, look, I've said it before. People can run their channels whatever way they wish. But one thing that people need to be mindful for is that we all have to be accountable for our actions in our platforms.
Yes, and you know, YouTube is ran by the advertiser. So if you don't have advertiser friendly content, then you're useless to YouTube, right?
Correct.
Mhm. Money
I
is always
mean,
the bottom
look,
line. Not
I
right or
don't
wrong,
have I have not
money.
yeah, yep. Because one thing we have to bear in mind, YouTube is a business, and their business is to make money. And if you have content that's too controversial, you're not going to make money.
Exactly. Well, I've been killing it in shorts lately, but Jose, I definitely have to come up with a couple of long form videos because my channel was suppressed because I did get flagged for some of my content for being a little bit too spicy, just like what we're talking about right now. So it's like you have to, you know, you got to figure your way through this and figure out, well, what's too far and what's not too far. And, you know, and you just got to figure it out. But I got to start, you know, uploading a
Yeah.
couple of videos because if not, then I'm not going to get any impressions on my long form content. And then you fall into the trap of being a shorts channel, which I
Mhm.
don't want to be a shorts channel, you know?
Understood. But the main topic tonight is aging gracefully, and that's something we all have to go through.
Yeah, that's another thing too on YouTube because there's a lot of ageism and stuff like that. I mean, even me, I'm 43 and I was told you know, it was an embarrassment for me to be on YouTube at this age and all of this. And it just really goes to show like the generation and how society, how lowbrow it's become. You know, when I was younger, I actually listened to advice from older people. I still listen to advice from older people, like, because they have more wisdom than me. Um, but, you know, it's a lot of idiots out here with a microphone, right? They just don't understand that the older that you get, you actually get more confident. That's the difference.
Well, what I keep saying, the circus is alive and unwell. I mean, people love to talk about that I'm aging to whatever, but the fact I'm 63 years old and I gotten close to 1,700 subs, I must be doing something right.
Yeah, and like let's be honest, this is YouTube. I mean, you got people that are like being born on YouTube and you have people that are vlogging their lives as they are going out of this world. There is no too old or too young to be on YouTube at this point. Like everybody's on YouTube.
Yeah, exactly.
But
And look,
but aging
and
gracefully is I feel like
No.
aging gracefully is just being confident in yourself, still caring about your appearance and keeping yourself up and not trying to chase your youth. It's kind of embarrassing when you see people that are, you know, 50-year-old women dressed like they're 20 and vice versa for the men. It's kind of weird or whatever. So aging gracefully, I feel like is just being fabulous at every stage of life, and comfortable in your own skin.
What I just find just as cringy is people of my generation, my age, chasing women in their 20s and 30s or even in their 40s, which is like, I mean, we all have to know, we all have to realize what our dating value is.
Hmm. Yeah,
Okay.
across all the boards, that's an issue, it seems, with people not really being realistic about
Yeah.
their options.
I mean, exactly. Look, I'm 63 years old. I think I look pretty decent for a 63-year-old. But
Hmm.
realistically speaking, if I didn't have anyone in my life, my best option is to try to find someone closer to my age.
Well, what do you always say? But that would make too much sense, right?
Exactly. I mean, let me tell you something. I think it was it last night. I was on Miss Elite's live briefly,
Uh-huh.
and they were talking dating, and then there was this person that was on the panel talking about, well, if you spend like $100 or $200 on a date when a woman that you should expect to sleep with her, and it's like, I mean, are we gotten that point when it's basically like low key prostitution?
Yeah. Another thing too that people don't talk about enough, Jose, is that it's not only people overestimating their value in the dating marketplace, but also under. Because a lot of people they come on here and they listen to the red pill and the manosphere
Sure.
and they're just like, oh, you're just basically worthless if you're over this age or if you have kids or if you have this or that. And I thought it was funny. I saw a comment somewhere or a meme or something, maybe on Facebook, and it said, meanwhile, men are out here trying to convince women that they can't find a man because they have kids, when in reality, there's a man out there that will take them with kids and that husband. And I just started laughing because it's true. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, people online are trying to push people into like a scarcity mindset where it's like, okay, nobody can find anybody. But reality, like everybody can find somebody. Just like get outside and get off your phone, go where people are.
I mean, I think single mothers can find the right person. It just they need to be realistic in who they're pursuing, just like men need to be realistic in what we pursue. I mean, nowadays, if you're expecting a woman to be a virgin, good luck because there's
Yeah, but the
very
cope is
few
out here.
virgins left
The
out
cope
there.
is real out here. Jose, the cope is real out here. Like I said, y'all men will love to have women believe that they can't find nobody because they have some kids, and that's a damn lie. It's a damn lie. Like I said, they'll take you with a husband and some kids. So, you know, kids ain't never stopped anybody from getting no man. Now, when it comes to your expectations, now that might be true because if you're looking for a billionaire and you have, 6 kids, that might be a challenge. You know what I mean? But when it comes to regular men in the real world, nine
Yeah.
times out of 10, they also have children as well. Period.
Of course, I'm one of those few men that don't have any children. I mean, it
Yeah,
just
and you're
happened to
part of
work
a
out
very
that way.
small minority.
But
Yeah,
I think,
very small
yes,
minority.
well, I'm almost like a dinosaur. I'm almost more like a dinosaur when you think about it.
Oh, you're almost extinct. Men with no kids. Yeah.
At my age, phew, no, but it does that. I get it. I'm from a different generation, and our values are different. It does that. I do not see myself spending $200 or $300 on a woman on a date and then have the expectation of sleeping with her. I just don't see it. I just don't see it that way.
Nah, I mean, I guess you'd be smarter to think it would be an investment than to think that it would seal the deal. If you think that that's going to seal the deal, then you might be disappointed.
Well, let me tell you something. I shared last night the situation where when I met my ex-wife for the first time, she wanted to sleep with me right away, and I refused because unlike a lot of these dudes, I wanted to get to know the chick before I actually do the deed.
Hmm. And it's the same thing with the expectations for the men as well. People saying that they can't find somebody because they're not tall or because they don't have enough money and stuff like that. And it's like, no, you just haven't realistically set your expectations. You're bitter and you're mad because you're not getting, and this goes for men and women. You're bitter and you're mad because you're not getting the partner that you want because it doesn't match you. You need to find people that match you. If you are a divorced single woman with
Exactly.
kids, then you should probably be dating a man that's divorced and single with kids as well. Like, because that would make sense. You guys would understand each other's lifestyle. But if you're chasing a man that is a millionaire that has no kids, you guys might not be matched. Can it still happen? Yes, but it's not probably the best match. And there are men out there, Jose, that don't have kids that are older, but I do think that your situation is a lot of times different. A lot of times when you run into those type of men, they're usually the kind of men that are always looking for the next best thing around the corner, and they just never settle down and never commit to one person because they're always looking for the bigger and better deal. So oftentimes, them men are actually very toxic. The ones that are like, yeah, like I'm in great shape and I don't have any kids and I've never been married, but I'm 42. And it's like, well, what have you been doing these past 42 years? Pretty much hoeing around. That's it. That's really what it boils down to.
Well,
You know?
but you know what's the crazy part? Is that I have a low body count. I actually have engaged in intercourse with three women in my lifetime. Only three.
Hmm. Hmm. And that is more
So that
normal,
makes
I
me
think, for
even
your
more of a
generation.
of a of a yeah, which makes me even more of a dinosaur because how many men in their 60s can say they have a low body count?
I know. Do you have any regrets, Jose? Do you wish you would have lived
It's not
more?
that I have no, not really, because the situation is I grew up in a family where the men had the reputation of being womanizers. So it's like I'm one of the few male members of my family that went the opposite direction. So,
Hmm.
and plus, as a Christian, I mean, you don't engage in intercourse before marriage. So that so
Hmm.
that's so that also determines how I conduct myself.
Did you wait?
But
Did you wait until after you were
it's just
married to
that
your
I would
wife
have
before y'all did it?
did. Yes, I did.
Okay.
Yes, she didn't like waiting, but it's just that I'm sorry. I have to know you before I get intimate.
Hmm. Yeah. I feel you.
Yeah, but I mean, look, when it comes to aging gracefully, it's
Hmm.
basically knowing what what are your limitations and just adapting to your situation as you get older.
And not being in denial about it, right?
Yeah,
Because I feel like that's what they mean when they say like
I
aging
mean, believe
gracefully, where it's like, even like with women, they be like, when you do a bunch of plastic surgery and stuff like that, you're trying to like stall, the hands of time. But they say, when you just naturally age, they say that you are aging gracefully
me.
in
And
regards to women.
also,
That's how they use it. Yeah.
I define, yeah, and also I define being in good health, being healthy physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, as I like to refer to it as the four legs of the stool. Okay. If you're not well in any one of those aspects, it's going to affect the other three. And I think we have seen, uh, not only here on these on social media, but outside, people who are not well, at least in one area, whether it be their emotional well-being or their mental or even their spiritual.
Hmm. Yeah.
And I know as a 63-year-old, I cannot run like I did as a 30-year-old. Okay. So I don't try to run like a 30-year-old. I just try to move around as someone within my age range.
Exactly. And even like me out here, even though people try to be ageist against me, like I literally stay in my own lane. I'm not out here trying to compete with anybody who's 20 damn years old. Like I know who I am. I'm good with who I am. And I never had no problems behind it. So that is a part of aging gracefully. Like I said, knowing who you are, comfortable in your lane, and not trying to fight the hands of time. That doesn't mean don't take care of yourself, but at the same time, you have to be like realistic with your expectations as well. Nobody's going to look 20 forever
Yeah.
unless you're J Lo.
Look. Yeah, but how many of us are like J-Lo? Really?
That's what I'm saying. And she's had a good run. She's starting to look a little older now, still gorgeous, still beautiful, but she's had a great run. But yeah, she is anomaly for real. Like she looked 30 well into her 50s. So
Yeah. Yeah.
you got to give props where
But
props is due. All the people that talk shit about J Lo, the one thing you can't say is that
that's
she
true.
didn't. She's always been a beautiful woman,
Yeah. Who
and
grew up
very
in the
in shape.
Bronx?
Yeah, and very in shape because you don't see 50-year-olds walking around with bodies
Yeah,
like that. Okay.
you do not. How can I put it? People of both sexes with a pot belly, or they look older than what they are. Uh, People can't believe I'm 63. I mean, the way I look, and it's like I'm just trying to maintain a healthy lifestyle because it will extend my life, particularly due to the fact that unfortunately I have siblings that passed away prematurely because they didn't take proper care of themselves.
Hmm. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I had a brother who passed away at 36, a second brother passed away at 49, a third brother passed away at 56, and a sister that passed away at 68 due to stage 4 lung cancer.
Hmm.
So, no, that
Was she
provided a
a
lot of
smoker?
motivation for me. He was a smoker,
Hmm.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why I focus on trying to be well physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Because if I'm healthy in all four, I'm going to be truly healthy.
And you're blessed because I mean, you live your life in a godly way, and I feel like the Lord's probably blessing you as well.
Um,
There's more work for
people
you to
people
do
are
on this earth.
surprised at what.
And maybe this was part of the plan, you having a YouTube
I mean, look,
channel and spreading the word of God and positivity in the world. This is all like none of this is like for nothing. It's all for something. It's all in God's plan, you know what I mean?
well, I am very mindful of what I say or do, and of course, this is not just a channel. This is basically my pulpit, so to speak.
Yeah.
And of course, what happened with Charlie Kirk last year with the fact that he was deleted, um, it brought home the fact that I need to be mindful of what I say or do.
Yeah, I think all content creators kind of got that message loud and clear. And it's really a shame that like you already know that when you talk about politics that ultimately you're putting yourself and your family at risk, unfortunately. This is where we have came, how far we've come as a society where it's dangerous to even give your opinion, you know?
Yeah, that's why when I do speak about politics, I try to do it in a way that's more analytical and not so emotional, because some people, bless their hearts, they don't know how to speak about politics without getting so doggone emotional.
But that's the issue with that is that even if you address topics in an analytical way, you really can't control other people's emotions that are tied into that. And let's be honest, the saying that the truth hurts didn't come out of nowhere, you know?
Yeah, yeah, that's true. That is very true. I mean, unfortunately, there's some people that just cannot handle the truth.
Hmm. Like if you look at a person like, let's say, Charlie Kirk or whatever, he had said some problematic things over the years, in my opinion, um, in regard to certain groups of people. But did he deliver it in a hateful way, a name calling way, a super, outwardly offensive way? Not necessarily, but just stating the facts to him, his perceived notion of the facts, was enough to get him harmed. And so that's really why I think it was so shocking for people because when you look at people like Nick Fuentes and, like Lily Gaddis and these people that are really out here and they're being like really outright racist or outright homophobic or outright anti Semitic or whatever it is. Um, but I guess my point is that regardless of the delivery, it can still be dangerous.
Yeah, that is true because unfortunately, we're dealing with a lot of people that are not able to articulate without getting emotional, without getting violent regarding their disagreements. And the thing is, to be able to disagree and be agreeable about it, but not everyone has the ability to do that.
So I got a messy question for you, Jose. What are your honest thoughts on your side, the left side, um, kind of acting unhinged out here, tearing up cities, fighting ICE? Um, you know, it's a mess. Like, what do you think about that? Like, running up into churches, harassing people in church. Like, the left is like pretty. Now, don't get me wrong, the right has their issues too, especially with the alt right coming out and the blatant racism and anti Semitism and all that they got going on and misogyny and all that. But the left they're pulling up. Wasn't that what that was called when they went to the church? Operation Pull Up? What do you think about all that?
Um, yeah, you know what? I discussed this on April. I want to April shower streams regarding that issue. I mean,
Hmm.
look, ICE. I mean, they are a law enforcement identity. Unfortunately, they have done a lot of stuff that is highly questionable. First of all,
Hmm.
a mask, not having body camera, okay, arresting U.S. citizens, um, assaulting people who are not violating any laws or not or are not not being not resisting arrest. Okay. Um, One thing I will tell people, even ICE has a responsibility, which is law enforcement. However, they by by their conduct has not helped their situation in any way, shape, or form. We have had U.S. citizens that have been falsely arrested by ICE. We have people who have been physically abused by ICE. We have people, unfortunately, in ICE facilities being deprived medical treatment. And we're talking about children as young as 5 years old being detained by ICE, talking about people who are suffering from cancer being denied medical treatment, while the left is gone loony with some of their activity. ICE has not, the ICE agents has not helped their cause in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I would agree. There's a lot of things that I see that I don't necessarily agree with. Um, and you have to look at it as a case by case situation because a lot of times these people are out here, they're blocking traffic, they're screaming in these officers' face, they're harassing the officers, they're cursing them, they're doing a lot. And then when the officer reacts, then they record, and then that's the bad guy. And I understand that as well. But I also have seen people that were, like you said, following instructions and getting physically attacked. I seen ICE officers jump and tackle old women that weren't doing anything wrong. So, but just like any group, there's going to be good and bad people in every group. And if you're making it normalized to protest and attack and try to get in the way of them doing their job, I don't know. Maybe it's a regional problem for like people that live in democratic cities where like they think it's okay that you can harass the police and do whatever. Like, but I live in Florida. Like, I would expect that if I were to block traffic, harass the police officers, jump in their face, spit at them, throw things at them, I would expect for some physical harm to come to me, you know. But for whatever reason in those cities they're so shocked when it happens. So I don't know, you know. They're not used to those type of repercussions. But in the South,
Yeah,
we
one,
are. In the South, we know you don't F with
yeah,
the police like that. You know what I mean? You respect their authority, and that's it. Or it could be a bad situation for you.
I mean, like I said, there is a lot of guilt to go around. Okay, um, by some of the people up the left, but I'll submit to you, the actions of the ICE agents arresting people simply because their surname is it doesn't sound English.
Mhm.
The fact that people in
Well, it's more than
in
that,
ICE
Jose. It's
facilities who
more than
have
your name
major
just.
health
It's
issues.
more than your name just didn't sound English. Okay. If the police come up to you right now and they say, oh, your name is Jose Negron, where's your ID? What are you going to do? You're going to give them your ID, right? And then problem solved.
Yes, but you know what the problem is? The next thing they're gonna say that the identification is fake.
Oh,
And
Jose,
unfortunately, we
stop.
have
We're just
documented
making up stuff
situation when
now. Stop,
no,
Jose. These
I'm
people
not.
are not
No,
complying.
no,
They're out there combative.
no.
They're
You know me.
protesting.
I'm not one of these. Okay,
Go
as I
ahead. I'm
stated
listening.
before, I'm not excusing. I'm not excusing the loony tendency of the left, but I will submit to you. Um, a lot of the questionable actions by ICE, they're not helped their cause in any way, shape, or form. Okay, when you have U.S. citizens arrested, and then when they ask them why, what are the accusations, and then simply being, instead of revealing, but basically ordering them to do whatever the instructions. So some of the backlash that the ICE agents have received, they earn it. So again, I'm not saying that what the left has done is kosher, but if you were to at take a look at documented cases, there's been
Hey,
some
Irby.
questionable behavior by the ICE agents.
No, I stand in the
Hey,
middle,
Irby.
Jose. I stand in the middle, Jose. I'm not one of those type of people that are just like, oh my God, ICE is just so freaking, you know, innocent. But at the same time, I am realistic. And when you're going from place to place and you're being fucking harassed and stuff like that, like they might not be in the best mood to fuck with. You know what I'm saying? Like you might not want to try your chances with them. You might want to avoid them. That's just rational thinking to me. I don't know. Maybe take your ass home. I don't know. Unless you're an illegal immigrant, I don't see no reason for you to be out there trying to bother ICE. Sorry.
See, the thing is, I would not involve myself because of the fact I don't want a situation where simply by peacefully protesting, not obstructing ICE in any way, shape, or form, the next thing you know, I'm being arrested or even worse, being physically assaulted
Yeah, but
simply
that's the
because I'm
problem when you're
protesting
in a mob.
peacefully.
That's the problem when you're in a mob, though. You might be peacefully protesting, but there's always bad in every group. You know what I mean? So that's why it's just like it's a bad situation to even place yourself in. As far as I'm concerned, I would sit it out. You know what I mean? Also, there's also people that believe that they're doing this on purpose, like with the ICE, so that people can go to the streets and they can protest and they can have an uprising, so that they have an excuse to put martial law on us and do all this other stuff. So there is something to that, I believe, because I even see them trying to goat black people into the situation when it literally has nothing to do with them. And and I see a lot of black people on the internet, they're not falling for it. They're like, we're not going out there. We're sitting this out. Like, it's not our problem. And honestly, I think that's the smartest thing to do. So, you know what I'm saying? Because let's be honest, I don't think that the immigrants would be out tearing up shit for us. Okay.
Well, okay. Well, I have just spoken about the migrants and the immigrants. I mean, and unlike a lot of these so-called YouTube experts,
Yeah.
I actually dealt with them.
Yeah.
So, okay, that's a big difference.
hmm And you also had a lot to
But
say about that too, about how you
like I
disagree with the
said before,
mentality that they came with, and yeah, the entitlement and all that.
I mean, look, And this is the thing, and I wish they would understand this, is that whenever you arrive in a new country,
Mhm.
you cannot assume that everything is going to be done the same way it was in your own country. I mean, what the what some, what I wish the migrants would understand, what may be kosher in Venezuela is not exactly kosher in the United States. It might even be kosher in New York or Florida or California or Arizona. I wish they would take that into consideration.
Irby, can you hit the link? I also would, because Irby's also from Florida, and I just wanted to ask his opinion on this because I guess like I said, like when we live in like a southern state, we kind of know that the police don't play, and we kind of like have more respect for the authority, right? So it's like when you see these people spitting on them, calling them names, throwing shit at them, and doing shit like that. Like in Florida, we would expect to get our asses kicked for that, right? Not saying that it's right or
Mhm.
wrong, but I'm just saying there's different levels of like there's different ways of mentalities, you know what I mean? And that's why I say like I guess, in democratic cities you guys are a little bit more spoiled as far as getting away with more stuff than you are in the South. Because let's say you live in New York, Jose. There's how many millions of people in New York are they going to chase you down for every little petty crime? Probably not. But in Florida or in Georgia, where there's less people, the police have more time to actually find you and hold you accountable for things. You understand what I'm saying?
Well, look, I get it. I mean, cities like New York is a little different, and particularly now that we have a so-called democratic socialist like Mandani. Um, I mean, things are going to be elite. I mean, I'm just waiting to see what's going to happen under his watch.
Like if
Um,
you were in Florida, Jose, and you were out here with your sign and
it,
you were like, setting dumpsters on fire or doing whatever, like you would expect that they would show up at your door and hold you accountable. But in New York, they're just like, there's so many millions of people. Are they really going to waste their time with that with you? You know, probably not.
well, first of all, I'm not the type of person that's going to be violent. I mean, but then again, that's just the way I was raised. Okay, if I'm going to protest, I'm going to do it peacefully. And if the police tell me to move, I'm not going to argue. I'm going to say, okay, please, officer, which direction can I move to? Logical.
Yep, it makes too much sense. Like you said, see, Irby says judges are more conservative down here, so heavy sentences and fines. Yeah, like we know that if we know that we step foot in that damn courthouse, that if we don't go to jail, we're at least paying some damn fines. Okay, like there ain't no getting around it. Like they're gonna get theirs. You know what I mean? So I think that's just a little bit different, considering what I've seen on the news. Like even about New York, how they
Yeah,
book people and then release them immediately, even though they have like crazy violent felonies. That would never happen in Florida, is my point. They would never release you. You know what I mean? Usually not. Typically not. They would not, you know. you
yeah,
you don't get all them chances like you do up north because there's more people up there. And
yeah. I mean,
there's, democratic judges that are more lenient. Down
well,
here you
look,
got
the
some
fact
old
of the matter
redneck.
is, we're in a blue state. We're in a
We got these damn rednecks down here. They'll lock you up for life, for a bag of weed. You know what I mean?
well, look. I have visited the South, so I already know for a fact that when I visit this, or actually in general, I'm going to be on my p's and q's anyway. So, particularly when I'm in the South.
Well, they have a saying when it comes to Florida where they say you come here on vacation and you leave on probation. literally they have a saying down here that says that you
Okay.
come for vacation, you leave on probation.
Well, I've been to Florida several times. I've been to
I know you ain't got
Miami.
no
I've been to
trouble, Jose.
Orlando. I've been to Kissimmee. I've been to Portland. No, because I know how to mind my p's and q's, and I say, "Excuse me, man, I need some assistance." I mean, I mean, and the crazy part is, um, that's the same way I talk here in New York. I mean, I don't change. I don't change. I mean, I just believe in being polite.
Yeah. Well, Jose, like you said, you're a dinosaur. You're almost extinct. You're a nice guy. What was I gonna say? Did you see my last short or not yet? Because I know I've uploaded many, but I did want to know, like, what was your opinion? Even though I know it's not really your thing, but like, what is your opinion on the thing? Because I know that you hear people in these spaces. I know you be out here in these YouTube streets, so you hear that a lot of the mulattoes, which I would just say that because that's what most of the men, um, that's what they identify with around these parts. But they're like making these storylines about how like biracial women, they just go and they date these black dudes so they can have protection in the community, so they can be accepted and all this. And then I literally just saw a debate and the white women were talking about how the white women, how they protected the biracial men. And I just thought it was kind of funny the irony of that, that they're projecting that on us when really it seems like you guys are the ones that need the protection, not us from the police. Okay.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. When it comes to mulattoes, I mean, first of all, one thing we have to bear in mind, okay, even though it doesn't seem like that, not all of them act the same way. Unfortunately, the ones that act a little bit too fruity are the ones that get the most attention. That's a reality. I did address it briefly one time regarding what I consider to be myths regarding mulattoes and things of that nature. And this is my thing. Um, if you want to address yourself as a mulatto, fine. If you want to address yourself as a hand sandwich, I don't care. I mean,
Not a
it's
ham
just that
sandwich. Okay.
the thing, this
Yeah, but I mean,
it's
we have
just
to be
that look,
honest though, because like I said, you're in this
I
space, you're
get
out
it,
here in these
people.
YouTube streets. You do notice, you have to at least by this point, that most of the people, whether they're men or women that identify as mulatto in these spaces, they are generally more extremists in their views, right? So I just thought it was funny that they keep putting that narrative out about us biracial women, but in reality, the white women are saying that, like, no, it's actually us. Our white privilege saves their asses from the police. And so I just thought that was very interesting and really content gold because they've been doing this narrative on us for over 2 years. And now when we finally listen to the white women, which they mostly date, mind you, they mostly date white women. Once we finally hear from the white women tell the whole story that no, actually, we are we provide protection for them. Isn't it funny how the tables turn out here in these YouTube golden days of our lives?
But you know what the problem is? You have certain individuals that are frustrated. How can I put it? Because they don't have access to the box. So so how they deal with it? They paint the narrative that they wish to paint. Now, unfortunately, the loudest press are some of these individuals. Okay, because I don't believe all of them act this way. Until unfortunately, it seems like they all act this way. I'm not gonna claim that I know a lot about mulattoes. But then again, um, we are not that well. We're not that focused regarding our phenotype, considering the fact that our culture is a mixture of Spain, Africa, and the indigenous peoples over there. So we're not, with the exception of the Hispanic types, we're not really spending a lot of time talking about this.
No, I agree. I don't think that you guys spend time talking about it, but if I'm going to be all the way honest, you guys spend a lot of time burying it under the carpet, though, because it's still a factor in your community. Absolutely.
Yeah, unfortunately, some of our community a little bit too phenotype conscious. Okay,
Well, the whole world is
particularly
like that. So it's not
when
just like
it
a
comes
Latino
to
thing.
yeah. But I think what people fail to understand, 400 or 500 years ago, when the Spaniards came to the New World, a lot of them did not bring their women with them. And of course, men are gonna do they're gonna find a way to exercise their carnal desires. So, if there's no white women, what they're gonna do? They're gonna get busy with the indigenous women. They're gonna get indigenous busy with the black women. And that's why you see Latinos are all differentiation colors.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, well, that's my point. That you guys do have those issues, though. You guys just don't talk about it as much. I'm not going to ever let that slide because I actually have had a front row seat in the Latino community. So I'm not just speaking from the outside and not knowing what's going on. I've actually lived in Puerto Rico. I was married to a Puerto Rican. I grew up in an area with a lot of Puerto Ricans and Dominican people. And yes, there is a lot of anti Black sentiment and rhetoric that goes on within that community. Period. I stand on that.
And it's unfortunate because people seem to lose focus of the fact that part of our culture comes from Africa.
But that's why I say it's not just a Latino thing. It's a worldwide thing. It has touched every, corner of the earth, whether it's Asians, Indians, Latinos,
Yeah.
whites,
I mean, a lot
Africans.
of time, yeah. I mean, a lot of the times when they ask me how to identify myself, do I identify myself as white? Do I identify myself with that black? I say I identify myself as other.
Jose, you never had a DNA test, right?
No, I need to do that.
You should do that and make
I'm
it
sure if I have it, I
content.
mean, I'll probably have something.
You should do it and make it content.
I'll probably do it at some point this year. It's just that let's
Just
keep
get
let's
your
keep
get
let's
get your
keep
little
it real. The last
$99
thing I want to
together.
do is give. No, I know. It's just that I don't want to give my haters more ammo. I mean, they really, I mean, more ammo than what they need. Even
Jose,
though
are you
I'm
telling me that
unfortunate
you
that
already know
my
that
haters have been quiet.
Jose, are you telling me that you already think in your heart that your DNA
No,
is going to come back predominantly European and they're going to drag you?
no, you know what? I'm sure it's going to
You
be
do have
some of it's going to be
a genuine,
European, some of it is going to
you do
be
have the native look as well, though. I'm pretty sure that you're going to have a mixture other than just European because your features are
I'm sure.
mixed. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure of that. And of course,
Irby's
we all
laughing because
remember the
you hear Jose
grief
up here.
that
Jose said he ain't giving the haters no
you
ammo.
and
They
Dreamy
ain't
went
finna
through
call
when
him
you
white no
invited.
more.
Well, I recall into the community.
You what?
I remember the grief that you and Dreamy went through when you invited the Latinos into the mix.
Oh, speaking of the Latinos, Jose, I just was looking, I was going through my lives and I saw that Chem123 was live. He was going after that other mixed race guy, Patrick C. Have you seen his channel yet in your algorithm?
No, I mean, no, I mean, to listen to him, to pontificate regarding why, why mixed people or whatever, and talking about Mr. BBC, it's not exactly high on my priorities.
Well, he scheduled a live, like he was supposedly going to be dragging this guy who's in the space or whatever. I guess he's down with the mulattoes as well, even though he doesn't call himself a mulatto, but he's down with them guys over there or whatever. And and that chick over there, that blue banana chick or whatever, we used to call them the pit bulls and skirts or whatever. She was over there talking trash too, and he was like, "I don't. This probably isn't even a woman and all that." And I was like,
Are
"No, it
you are
actually is
you
a
talking?
woman, huh?"
I know one of his followers was named Maria, and you know, one time she, Magic did a live regarding Latinos, and then she argued, and then Maria was arguing with Magic. I don't remember why.
Yeah, it's not that one because there was two of them. It was Maria and then the other one, the blue banana princess or something. And so I just commented over there and I was like, yeah, I was like, well, that actually is a woman. She hits Chem123's link quite frequently or whatever, but they generally just don't like Americans in general and they watch our sector and they hate watch and they make content on it. But he ended up chickening out of it, Chem123. He never followed through with a live after the guy was calling him out on his wall, and I see Kim's over there live right now talking about another topic. So he definitely backed up out of that discussion. Let's just say that.
Well, I find it interesting. He's bad mouthing Americans, but then again, he's living in the United States. Okay, if you really hate the United States that much, what you doing here?
Yeah, and it's also kind of strange too because he tries to put it under the "we're all Latino" umbrella, and it's like, well, yeah, but looking at you and your picture and your phenotype, you are clearly like there's like barely, you don't probably have any African ancestry in you, but yet you're always taken up for the Brazilians and the Dominicans and the Puerto Ricans and whatever, but like you are clearly South American and you don't really probably have much African ancestry. So it's kind of funny too that he calls out our identity issues, but in reality, he's trying to identify with mulatto Latinos. So
I don't know. Maybe his issue is that he never received he never gained access to the box, and maybe if he gained access to the box once, maybe it might change his outlook.
oh man, what a mess. Aging gracefully, dealing with all of this
But
nonsense on YouTube. Handling the
I
BS
remember
on
another.
YouTube is
I mean,
aging gracefully.
I remember another YouTube character that was anti-American, but yeah,
Okay.
he was living in the United States and talking about the destruction of the United States. Eventually, I said to him, "Well, if you really feel that way, why don't you leave?"
Exactly. Get the fuck
And
out of here.
actually, yeah, and actually, believe it or not, he took issue with me about it, and then he tried to argue with Denise about it, and eventually he got kicked out of her channel. And I enjoy every minute of it.
Oh my goodness.
I mean,
What was his name?
I mean, if he, I mean, I'm trying to remember what was his name, Guillermo, whatever.
Okay, he wasn't a popular
I mean,
YouTuber. He was
he
just a
was
channel member.
Colombian. He had okay. Okay. He had a YouTube channel. I mean, he's Colombian. Basically, he's part of the part of the part of the Latino community that glorifies Spain, like some sort of like paradigm and what have you, and neglecting the fact that part of our culture comes from Africa, and part of our culture comes from the indigenous people. And believe me, I have not seen him in years. I don't miss him.
What is that Dominican
This
guy's channel,
anti-American
Jose?
rhetoric. I mean, if he's anti-American,
What is that Dominican
are
guy's
you
channel?
talking about Dominican Renaissance?
No, it was another guy, and I went over there and I cammed up
It's a
on their stream and everything.
okay.
The ones that used to fight with Blue, you knew who they were, but I
Well,
just can't remember his name right now. What were the Dominican
will that
content
be
creators? Those
fighter?
what is it?
Well, okay. So, okay, first of all, you have fighters, a fighter. You had Dominican Renaissance. You had King
What was the
Nacho.
fighter name?
Um,
What was the fighter name?
and then you have a couple that, which unfortunately, Fighter Complex 7.
Maybe that's it. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna look it up and see and go check on them over there. I haven't been over
I
there in a
mean,
while.
I mean, yeah. And then you have other Latino uh, content creators like that were like more Spanish oriented. Um, and then there was this other person called Inquisidor. I don't
No, I
know
think it was
what
the Fighter Complex
I don't.
guys that I went over there and
Oh,
I
I know
checked.
he's Latino. I don't know what type of Latino, and I really don't care either way.
Yeah, I've lost contact with a lot of channels because I'm on this new channel, so
But
get it.
yeah, I mean, and you know what's interesting? You know what's interesting? I remember one time I was on Fighter's channel.
Hmm.
This, this YouTube creator, a child with by a Dominican, talking about that she's Dominican in spirit, whatever. And I well, you can think of yourself as Dominican in spirit, but actually to be Dominican, at least one year. Apparently, she had an issue with me, and she tried to stop Fighter from letting me get on the panel. And it's like if you're going to get that upset simply because I'm expressing an opinion, then you need to get therapy instead of going around going around calling yourself Dominican whatever. Get yourself some therapy.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it is what it is. Well, we've been on about an hour and a half. I guess I'm gonna go in there. I gotta get up early in the morning. I know that we derailed a little bit because I missed your open topic stream, but hopefully we didn't ruin it too much talking about open topics. But I enjoyed it.
No. It's no. But I mean, no, I mean, basically, what I discussed, open discussion, had to do with the snow and what have you, making sure if you have to travel, be careful out there. And of course, I spoke about angry biracial. I mean, I don't have any issue with him. It's just that um, due to the nature of his content, it's going to he opened himself to a lot of controversy and criticism. Um, I don't want to see him lose his channel, but if a channel gets taken away, um, I'm not all that surprised though.
Well, yeah, I mean, at some point too, you have to like realize that, fat meat ain't greasy or whatever, and you have to like actually look at like what your plan is as a content creator and see what is working and what isn't working. And he had like several issues on TikTok as well, as far as losing fucking channels over there. So it's like, now I know that TikTok is more sensitive than YouTube is, but like, so if it's not really working out on TikTok and it's not really working out on YouTube, then maybe you should tweak something. Maybe you should change up your delivery and be more informative rather than like attacking, I guess. But at the end of the day, like some people just do this to do this. But it does seem like he's doing this because he really wants to do this and he wants to make money at it. And obviously he's done all this for money. So it's like at some point you have to make better decisions. And not just him, but all of us. Like I have to keep in mind too, like, I went too far with some of my content, not in the same direction as him, but in the opposite direction. In my case, I triggered the whites, and they freaking mass reported me. So, because I called out the fact that they were, for years laughing at black people, telling them that they just cry and play victim, and yet I find it interesting that now they're doing the same thing, but the only difference is they're blaming the little hats for their problems and taking no accountability. But anyways, that was a big trigger for them, and so they mass reported me. So yeah, it's about the delivery and about how you go about things. You can still get your point across without, sometimes being so blatantly in your face offensive about it. It's a
Yeah,
really
I
like
mean, look, if,
it's a really
I mean,
hard trickery thing
I
to
managed to
manage.
grow my channel. Yeah, I mean, I managed to grow my channel, and basically I avoided most of the more controversial stuff. I mean, but then again, most of my growth is coming from my shorts.
Hmm.
It's just that I have decided to reflect what I actually believe, and that I am mindful that what I say or do does have consequences.
Well, as a content creator, we have to constantly evaluate like what's working for us and what's not. So I guess my question for you is, are you happy that you're getting the bulk? Because like right now, I'm doing the shorts to just to get to my 1K because I already have my watch time hours, right? But like for you and you actually enjoy doing live streams and these other type of things. Um, do you like where your channel is as far as like having a strong presence in the shorts feed? But you may want to work on your live streams. Like, do you want to work on that, or are you just kind of cool with the way things are right now? Like, you come on here for a hobby talk and that's it, but you rely mostly on the shorts. Like, what is your like plan for your channel?
Well, actually, I am gonna take a look at the lives and see what I can do to try to generate um, more of an audience. Of course, of course, trying to stay on the positive note. You know,
Hmm.
and I mean, it I wouldn't say it restrict. It creates a challenge how to create content and not make it so controversial. Okay.
Yeah,
So believe me, I am looking at trying to find ways to increase the
because that's
activities
why I
for
was
at
telling
particular
you,
point
like, even with your
as far
titles
as
and
the
stuff,
lives are concerned.
like, because there are ways, but then like it does get messy, and you're trying not to be messy. Like today, you talked about angry or biracial, so what would be it would be putting Angry's name in the title to attract more viewers. But like, so yeah, you're walking that tightrope of being messy and not like you're being messy kind of by talking about it, but you don't want to be messy to really be like front street with it. But yeah, so your titles and your thumbnails, is the main thing because people click on thumbnails. So I would say you would probably need to make a little bit more dramatic
Yeah.
thumbnails. You know?
That's something I will have to look into. Like I said, it's just that
Why is Irving laughing? I just gave him
the
good advice.
nature
Why are you
of this.
laughing? Irving's laughing at me. I don't know why. That was good advice. Listen, I have created 3
Well, you know
monetized
what?
channels. It's not like I don't
Considering
know what
that
I'm
he
talking about.
uses
I
his
definitely know
abdominal,
what I'm talking about. And I'm on
yeah.
my way to my 4th monetized channel. So,
Well, yeah. Definitely. Also, I need to do a better job as my thumbnails is concerned. I'm not the most creative in the world. That I know.
yeah, there's different ways you can get around that, or even if you use AI images or like somebody crying or like, facial expressions and stuff like that really does like get the attention of people. But yeah, I would say that if I were to give you any advice, it would be the thumbnails because they say that the thumbnails is really, I mean, it's true because that's the first thing you see. So nobody even knows if your video is good if they don't click on it because they don't like your thumbnail don't stand out.
Yeah, that's true.
But at the
So
same
I will
time, like
be.
you said, that you like how you
Going
are,
forward.
going at your own pace. So, whatever you want to do, obviously. Either way, you're still getting there. You're over your 1K. You're doing
Yeah,
well.
yeah. And the best part, I'm doing it well by being positive.
Yeah. Well, you don't have to be negative to do well, but you do actually talk about controversial topics. You just don't put it in your title. So,
You know what it is? It's just that I know how to talk about controversial topics and not get it so in your face.
yeah, but you have to get it. You have to get in their face to drag them to draw them in. For them to click on it. So that's why it's like clickbaity kind of
Yeah,
like
I
sometimes
know
I'll put
it.
like clickbaity titles. But anyways, we're way off topic and it is late. I'm
Also, I
gonna
have
let
to
you
be.
go, Jose.
Also, well, thank you very much for stopping by. And folks, if you have not done so, please check out my Gigi's channel. Check out her content, subscribe, and if you can, join her membership so you can get access to private content.
Yes, and
Some very,
I'm gonna do some
you know,
members only content
oldies.
tomorrow, Jose. I am gonna do some member only content because I've been very busy, but
Okay.
yes, it's very important to keep up with that. So, and thank you so much for being a member. I truly do appreciate. And I don't forget, and you know that because I'm here. I've been riding for you forever. We gonna ride till the wheels fall off, Jose. You have been loyal to me, and I will be loyal to you. And I got your back. And if you need me, you call me. But everybody, please hit the like button for Jose. And thank you for letting me up, Jose. You have a beautiful night, okay?
Good night. Thank you very much for stopping by.
You're welcome. Bye.
So, good night. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop to wrap this up. It kind of detour a little bit, but it's okay. But the bottom line is when it's just that aging gracefully is just knowing what you can do, what you can't do, and just adapt accordingly. That's all it is. So, with that being said, I will go live tomorrow night. We're going to topic don't let past govern your life. Okay. Now, the problem is you have people who are stuck in the past and unable to get past disappointments. So I'm going to be talking about how to avoid that. And of course, the playback and please, if you have not done so, please subscribe to the channel, set the bell notifications to all. So therefore, whenever I do produce content, you will have the opportunity to catch it live or catch it on the playback. Thank you very much, Irving. Um, Now, of course, we're going to close the same way that we always close. We must do everything possible to avoid the presence of the mentally and intellectually challenged, because if we fail to do so, we will be infected by the stupidity and massive insanity. And of course, whatever we say and do, we should do for the glory of God. And with that being said, and again, as far as my fellow New Yorkers out there, please be careful. If you have to go out there and travel, please watch your step. Give yourself extra time. Also, checking on your neighbors, particularly those who are elderly, and if they need help, like shovel the snow for them, that would be an an errand of mercy, so to speak. And with that being said, I'm just gonna say thank you very much. Play back in, please do your thing, and you're more than welcome to share your comments. Just try to keep it respectful. Okay. And with that being said, I wish all of you a pleasant good night. Stay blessed and peace.